Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new installment of the Wrestling Analyst. Today, we're taking a look at what happened on the Smackdown episode of March 10th, 2023. Here we go. So, match number one, Fatal Five Way for to determine the number one contender for Gunther's Intercontinental title. Now, the winner of this match will face Gunther at WrestleMania. Odd thing right off the bat, two referees in this match. Usually, Fatal Five Ways only have one referee. So one referee. So that's a little bit odd to start with. So Imperium appears on the runway to the ring to maybe scout their opponent or Gunther's opponent or whatever. Result: both Sheamus on Xavier Woods and McIntyre on LA Knight. They both pin one opponent at the same time. So Sheamus and Drew McIntyre are both declared the winners of the match. Therefore, that was the reason why they needed two referees in the match. So, what this means is, well, people were chanting three-way dance or triple threat or whatever. It was announced later on that Gunther complained about having two opponents, and he didn't want two opponents. He wanted to have one opponent. So Adam Pearce made the ruling later on the show that uh, Sheamus and Drew would face off each other next week to determine who's going to face Gunther at WrestleMania. Well, then we had a little segment with Paul Heyman, but Heyman doesn't pay attention at all. And when Caleb Braxton gets his attention, he starts talking about Cody Rhodes. And he basically says that Cody Rhodes will need to acknowledge Roman Reigns after Reigns beats him at WrestleMania. Let's go to the second match. So, second match of the evening, Legado del Fantasma versus the Judgment Day. Now, this match serves two purposes. One, to continue setting up the WrestleMania match between Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. And second of all, to continue to the rivalry between Legado del Fantasma, Judgment Day, and especially between Santos Escobar and Dominic. So Judgment Day wins the match with Dominic taking the pin. Uh, I think it was on uh, Joaquin Wild, but I'm not sure right now. Uh, and then Dominic asks to speak to his dad, and he basically tells him that he should have been Eddie's son. And Ray says he won't fight Dominic, but we all know that this is coming for WrestleMania. And I said it today on my French version, so I'll say it here today as well. I think now, since Ray is the first inductee of the 2023 Hall of Fame, I suspect that the WrestleMania match will be the swan song for Rey Mysterio. Uh, I think it's going to be a career match. Ray will put his career on the line against Dominic at WrestleMania. That's what I think. Will it happen? I don't know. We'll see in the coming weeks. But that's what I suspect will happen. So if you didn't hear it before, I sure haven't heard it before. But if you haven't heard it before, you heard it here first. Let's go to the third match. Match number 3, Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Viking Raiders. Now, recently, Strowman and Ricochet had a match for the tag team title, the Smackdown tag team titles, and they failed. So, what I think is that, and Strowman and Ricochet won the tournament for that to have the shot. Now, what I think is happening here is that they are going to use Strowman and Ricochet's team to set up contenders for the titles, which is the sole purpose, I think, for this match, Viking Raiders, to put over the Viking Raiders to be next in line for the title. Now, during the match, Valhalla casts like a spell on Ricochet, and he's creeped out, and the Viking Raiders win the match after that. So, are they gonna start using Valhalla, which you all know is Sarah Logan, but are they gonna start using Valhalla to maybe have an edge, give the Viking Raiders an edge over their opponents this way? We'll see, but I think that's where they're going. So, Viking Raiders could be next in line after WrestleMania for a title shot uh, at the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Let's go to the fourth match. Earlier in the night, Charlotte Flair went to see Adam Pearce, demanding to have a match on the card. So he made a match: Charlotte Flair versus Shotzi. Now, during the match, Rhea Ripley comes ringside, and Charlotte is distracted by Rhea a little bit, but Flair anyway wins with the figure 8 submission. After the match, Rhea grabs a mic, gets in the ring. Charlotte, being arrogant, says, "Come on, kid, say what do you got to say?" And Rhea says basically that she's going to take the one thing that Charlotte values over anything in her life, which is the SmackDown Women's title. Now, this match, I think, is going to be very good. They had a hell of a match 3 years ago during the era, the Thunderdome era. And I think that they're going to have a hell of a match at WrestleMania. So all this is to set up the heat for the Saturday main event, if it's still the main event, because there's rumors that say that they might make Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, even though the match has not been announced yet, the main event of night one. So we'll see. That personally, that would be a shame. I think not because Usos, Sammy, and Kevin are not worthy to have the main event. Far from me the idea of saying that. That should be a main event on any freaking pay-per-view that Roman Reigns is not there. But the Women's Royal Rumble has been sold the same way as the Men's Royal Rumble, that the winner of the Royal Rumble main events night one of WrestleMania. Period. So if they do that, if they scrap that main event one time, nothing will prevent them from doing it again in the coming years. Just saying that. So I will talk about the Bloodline storyline in its own segment. So here we go with that one. So, segment with the Bloodlines. Now, at the start of the show, we saw Jimmy and Jay arriving in their SUV, And I think it was Caleb Braxton who was asking Jay why he betrayed Sammy, and Jay said, "Well, I'm gonna say everything I have to say in the ring tonight." So that's the time. Now he said he didn't want to do it, but Jimmy is his twin brother, his family, so he had to betray Sammy, and he blames one person for being selfish, and that's Sami Zayn. So the only problem left is Cody Rhodes, and then interrupted by Cody. And he said, Cody basically says, "Well, if you have something to say it to my face." And while Cody has the Usos' attention, Sami Zayn arrives and attacks Jey Uso. Brawl ensues between the four. Cody and Sami clear the ring, and Cody and Sami uh, stay in the ring. Cody raises Sami's hand, and that's how the show finishes. So the purpose of that, well, that's to have a coalition against the bloodline. The coalition being Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, and Kevin Owens. But KO is not in the coalition yet because he wants to fight alone. What I think is going to happen is, and I've said it after my Raw analysis last week, for last Monday, I said that Cody's going to do the peacemaker between the two, and he's going to be the one that's going to reunite Sammy and KO to form a team to go to WrestleMania and dethrone the Usos and end the Usos' historic title reign once and for all. Just like Cody is going to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So that's it for this episode of the Wrestling Analyst Smackdown edition. So I'll be back later today. I'll do another video today for the Raw analysis from last Monday. So stay tuned. In the meantime, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you like this content, well, talk about it to your friends. Have a nice day, and see you later.